We certainly live in an educated culture. At no other time in human history have we been exposed to more knowledge, facts, and information. However, one might argue that no other time in human history has there ever been such a void of truth. Let me begin my reflection this morning by attempting to define truth as we move forward. The word truth in Greek is aletheia. And what it means in the Greek is non-concealment. It's not concealed. Non-concealment. It's fully disclosed. The real state of affairs. Webster defines truth as actuality. And I love the second definition. Here it is. A transcendent, fundamental, spiritual reality. Let me lay that one on you again. A transcendent, fundamental, spiritual reality. The Reverend Robert McAfee Brown sees this 7-mile journey to Emmaus as the revelation of truth to Cleopas and his partner. It is a moment in time of transforming and engaged knowledge. In other words, it is the moment of truth. And on that Emmaus Road, Jesus reveals this truth, but he offers us a gift this morning. As he reveals this truth, his truth, the truth on the Emmaus Road, he also shares with us this morning a developmental sequence toward truth. So come walk with me for a moment on our dusty roads as I flush this out this morning. Because all truth must begin first and foremost by searching for truth. Verse 17 of what Sean just shared said this. He asked them, he being Jesus, asked Cleopas and his friend, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" You see, Jesus was in the question on that road, where the teacher engaged the student, challenging their understanding of all that had transpired. In this case, and I would propose all cases, truth begins with Jesus in the question. The one that is open to all our disbelief, our anxiety, our worry, our doubts, our fear. The search for truth begins with Jesus asking, "Hey brother, hey sister, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Where are your doubts, your stumbling blocks, your behaviors, your addictions that block you from truth?" And then our earnest desire to enter our reality and search for that truth begins. I believe that we are all on our own road of Emmaus. We're all traveling somewhere, somehow. For Cleopas and his friends, it was toward Jerusalem to gather with the 11 disciples who now find themselves isolated and cowering with fear. But the appropriate question for us this morning, in our search for truth, is to disclose to ourselves and to Jesus, what road are we traveling? Where's our roads leading? The revelation of truth begins with an earnest search of that reality. But it doesn't stop there. Because in our search, we must be willing to listen to the truth. Verses 25 through 27. He said to them, he again, Jesus, said to Cleopas and his friend, how foolish you are, and how slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and then enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. I interpret that knowing their quest for truth was genuine, Jesus then translates history to interpret the present. Work with me here. It was a process that taught that to grasp present truth, one must comprehend the past. But not just a static past, not just knowing numbers and facts and figures, but a past that interprets the present. Here, the words of Moses carry a new hope, a new life, a new truth. In that moment, I believe the church of Jesus Christ was revealed, where God's salvation history is revealed on an ancient, dusty road leading toward truth. The wonderful author Leonard Sweet reminded me this week in my study that in every age, in every generation, the story must be reinterpreted again, anew for every generation, where the present gleans truth from the past. And we do that by listening. You see, when Cleopas and his friend were on that dusty road and Jesus appears, Jesus now knows that they are searching for truth. Jesus did not enter into a dialogue with them. Only Jesus spoke about the past. And their role in searching for truth was to listen. So I ask you this morning, as I ask myself, how do you listen? Is it prayer? Is it stillness? Is it reflection? Meditation? Is it in reading or learning? Or is it merely stopping? How do you listen? Because once we engage in searching for the truth through Jesus so that we might listen to Jesus, learn from our past, our hope is that we finally, eventually, embody truth. We search for it. We listen for it so that we might embody truth. Verse 34a. They got up, Cleopas and his friend, got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. After all this has happened, they found the 11 and those with them assembled together and saying, this is Cleopas and his friend, it is true. That's what they told the disciples and all that were gathered. This was the moment where Cleopas and his friend personified truth. They became the truth. This is when their listening and their searching moved from theory and became practice. Now, for the two travelers on the road, that moment happened in the midst of their anguish, their confusion, their doubt, and their fear. But they overcame that. They became truth when they invited Jesus to stay with them. Do you see it? It was no longer searching. It was no longer listening for truth. Their action became the truth. A truth of hospitality, a truth of discernment, a truth of relationship with this Jesus. Reverend Brown, that I shared with you earlier, puts it this way. I will quote him. It's profound. Quote, knowing truth is not fully possible unless we are doing truth, as it is a lot easier to reflect upon the truth than to reflect truth. Let me repeat that last part. It is a lot easier to reflect upon the truth than to reflect truth. So here we are, all of us on our dusty roads, all of us traveling somewhere. And on these dusty roads and these dusty days, we are searching. Are we listening? So that we will become truth. And all the while we continue to step into the unknown of every minute, every hour, and every day, do we cling to the truth that we are not alone? That Jesus travels alongside us. Because, friends, I believe our journey today only makes sense when we cling to the truth of who is holding tomorrow. As we discern this truth, as we search for it, listen for it, so that we might become it, let's ponder that.